All right, so are you ready to dive into something kind of interesting?
Always up for a challenge. What are we digging into today?
Well, you know how everyone's always on the lookout for that passive income dream?
Yeah, the whole make money while you sleep idea.
Exactly. So today we're going to see if buying easyinfoblog.com is going to be someone's ticket to that.
Okay, easyinfoblog.com. Got it. Lay it on me. What we got?
Well, I got to say, on the surface, it's pretty enticing. They're claiming over 3 grand a month in profit.
3 grand a month. Not bad at all. What's the catch?
Well, that's what we're here to find out, right?
Hmm?
But first, a little background. I did some digging, listened to a recent episode of the Business Talk Today podcast, and they really break this opportunity down.
All right, so what's the Business Talk Today take on this Easy Info blog?
So it's a general information blog, which basically means it covers a little bit of everything: tech, business, lifestyle, you name it. Been around since 2019.
Okay, so it's not brand new, at least. That's a start, I guess.
Yeah, and they've built up a library of over 600 articles. They claim to pull in $3,032 in profit each month.
Hold on. Did you say over 600 articles? That's a lot of content to manage.
That's what I thought. But wait, there's more. They claim a 96% profit margin.
Wow, 96%. Okay, now that is impressive, especially for a blog with that kind of range. Gotta say, you've got my attention now. What are they doing to make that happen?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's not like they're giving away state secrets. But Business Talk today did mention they get about 65,000 unique visitors every month.
65,000. All right, that's a decent amount of traffic for sure. Where are these visitors coming from mostly?
Primarily from the US, Canada, and the UK. So, pretty valuable demographic for monetization.
Definitely, especially with their mix of affiliate marketing, Google AdSense, Taboola, and even those sponsored posts. Sounds like they've got all their bases covered.
And they're running it all on WordPress, so it shouldn't be too difficult to manage, even for someone like me.
Yeah, WordPress is pretty user-friendly. Even I can handle it, and believe me, that's saying something.
So all in all, it seems like a pretty sweet deal. Consistent income, built-in audience, a platform that's not going to require a computer science degree. But then it gets even more interesting.
More interesting. You've got to be kidding me. How could it get any better?
They're not just selling the website. They're including the domain name, all the website files. You ready for this? They even include post-sale support.
Post-sale support. Okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. Though I'd want to know what that actually entails.
Oh, but wait, there's more. They're also throwing in a verified Google AdSense account. Talk about a turnkey operation.
Whoa, hold on. A verified AdSense account. That's a game changer. That's not your average bonus. It's huge. Means Google's already vetted and approved their site for monetization.
It does make you wonder, why sell it at all if it's such a well-oiled machine?
Right. Maybe they're just ready to move on to something new. They claim they're shifting focus to other projects. Happens all the time in the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah, true. Still, definitely makes you wonder and makes due diligence even more important in this case.
Absolutely. We need to make sure this opportunity is as golden as it sounds. Can't just take their word for it, right?
Okay, so we've got this established website, looks like it's bringing in decent money, has a built-in audience, and uses a platform that's easy to manage, like stepping into a business that's already running. What really jumps out at you with all this?
Well, besides that profit margin, that's still blowing my mind a little, to be honest. But what really stands out is the potential for immediate returns. Someone wouldn't be building something from the ground up here. They'd be stepping into a revenue stream that's already flowing. No waiting months or years to see if their hard work pays off. Day one, they're in the black.
I gotta say, I do love the sound of instant gratification, but I'm also a realist, and this is where the whole general information thing throws me a bit. On the one hand, sure, casting a wide net, you might catch more fish, or in this case, attract a wider audience, right?
Sure, makes sense. Diversification is usually a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Well, does going too broad make it harder to become an authority in any one area, especially for Google?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Breadth versus depth. It's a classic trade-off for sure. We need to figure out if going wide is actually a good thing here, or if it's going to come back to bite someone later. Because ranking for specific keywords, that's how you bring in that organic traffic. And if you're all over the place,
It's going to be tough to gain any real traction.
right?
It's a balancing act for sure. And speaking of balancing acts, for someone like me who's, well, let's face it, a little drawn to the idea of a hands-off approach, how much effort are we really talking about here?
That's the thing about this low effort promise, right? We've got to be realistic. 600 articles, that's a great head start, but it's not a set it and forget it situation.
Yeah, I guess even a well-oiled machine needs a bit of maintenance now and then.
More than a bit, I'd say. Think of it like, I don't know, a garden or something. You can't just plant some seeds and then kick back and expect prize-winning roses every year.
So true. I learned that the hard way.
Right. There's weeding, pruning, adapting to the seasons. Content's the same way. It needs tending.
Okay, so maybe not totally hands-off, but they do mention some premium post-sale support. What do you think? Is that just a fancy way of saying they'll answer a few emails, or could there be real value there?
It's worth looking into, that's for sure. I mean, most website sales, you get some basic help getting things set up, but premium kind of implies they're going above and beyond.
The question is, how far above and beyond? A free lunch every week.
Huh. Probably not. But the key is to find out what premium actually means in this context. How long does the support last? What all does it cover?
And how responsive are they really going to be when you have a question at 3:30 a.m.?
Exactly. It all ties back into that low-effort question. If the support is legit, it could be a lifesaver, especially with a website this broad. But we got to see the fine print.
Okay, so word to the wise. Don't get blinded by the premium buzzword. Makes sense. So shifting gears for a sec, let's talk about this Google AdSense thing again. I gotta admit, it's been on my mind.
Yeah, that's a big one. Like I said before, having a verified AdSense account just handed to you, that's huge. It's not just about the money, though that's obviously a big part of it. It's the fact that Google has already given this website the green light.
Because, let's be real, Google doesn't just let anyone into their little club.
Right. Exactly. They've got a reputation for being, shall we say, selective. So having that verified account means they've vetted this website's monetization practices and basically said, yep, this is legit.
So it's like a stamp of approval from the ultimate authority in online advertising. Adds a whole other level of legitimacy to this whole thing.
Right. And it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for the buyer. They can step in knowing that Google's already given them the thumbs up.
But here's the thing that's bugging me. If it's such a valuable asset, why include it in the sale at all?
Yeah.
Wouldn't the seller want to keep that for their next big project?
That's a valid question. I mean, it could just be a sign of good faith that they're really trying to hand over the keys to a turnkey operation. But it's also something to dig into during due diligence.
So we've got a website that seems to be making good money, has a decent-sized audience, is relatively easy to use, comes with built-in support, and even has this golden ticket AdSense account. I have to say, it's kind of tempting, but we've still got to talk about the elephant in the room, right? The content itself. 600 articles covering everything under the sun. There's a lot to live up to.
It's like they say content is king.
Or queen, in this case, maybe.
Right. Content is royalty. But seriously, you can have all the bells and whistles in the world, a fancy website, a huge audience, but if the content isn't good, none of it matters.
Totally. People have to actually want to read what's there, click on those affiliate links, stick around long enough for those ads to generate revenue. Okay, so content is king or queen. We've established that.
Yeah.
But we also know that content needs care and attention. It's not a one-and-done kind of deal. So how does someone even wrap their head around managing that much content, especially across so many different topics?
Well, that's where the due diligence comes in again. You'd want to look at things like how well organized is the existing content? Is it high quality? Is it still relevant today? And crucially, is it actually ranking well in search results?
Right, because a library of 600 dusty old articles that no one ever sees isn't doing anyone any good. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, that the content checks out, it's well-written, well-organized, and it's actually driving traffic. What's next? How does the new owner take this thing to the next level?
That's where it gets really interesting, right? Because now you're not just managing a website, you're thinking strategically about growth. How do you make this asset even more valuable?
And that's where things could go in so many different directions with a general information site. Do you stick with the existing categories? Maybe try to become the go-to source for, I don't know, underwater basket weaving tips? Or do you leverage that existing audience and branch out into something completely different?
That's the challenge and the opportunity. Do you go narrow and deep, or do you try to be everything to everyone?
Sounds like a recipe for some serious entrepreneurial soul searching. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about profit margins, traffic, content management, the importance of due diligence. We even got a little philosophical about the meaning of a general information website in the grand scheme of things.
Sounds about right.
So as we wrap things up here, any final words of wisdom for our listeners who might be considering taking the plunge with easyinfoblog.com?
Well, I'd say First of all, kudos to you for even considering an online business venture. It's not for the faint of heart, but the rewards can be huge.
No risk, no reward, am I right?
Exactly. But risk doesn't mean jumping in blindly. Information is power, and we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge you need to make an informed decision. Do your research, crunch the numbers, and most importantly, trust your gut.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A huge thanks to you, as always, for lending your expertise to this deep dive. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, happy investing.